Today we're going to be covering just building your accounts. And so um something that usually is one of the biggest questions is, how do I grow my account? How can I get my account big enough so that it can get noticed? It's a lot of the building blocks we've already been talking about, but of course, in order to just explain it all in one go, we had to go over those building blocks first. And although it is sixth in my list, I'm going to start with it first. You want to be consistent, and we've talked about that. We've talked about scheduling. We've talked about how you want to just get in a pattern of being able to post so that your account is active. When people see that your posts start, becoming sporadic, so maybe once a month, once every 3 weeks, or like 4 days one week and then suddenly gone again, there isn't consistency to your content. You want to be able to bring whatever it is that you're teaching or sharing with others. You want it to be there. If your goal is 3 times a week, make that the consistent thing that you show those 3 times a week or whatever it is your schedule. You want to, and then we're going to just jump right back up to number one. When you are building your online audience, you want to start with one platform. So just decide for yourself and say first, okay, well, what is the best platform for me to grow first? And again, the emphasis here is on growth. It's not on just having an online presence. So yes, you can have an online presence on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, etc. We're talking about growing one account. You can definitely have all of the other accounts presence, but if you do that, it's harder to grow all of them rather than growing one quickly and then bringing your audience to other platforms, which sometimes tends to work better. So, like I said, step one, start with one platform. Just decide for yourself, okay, this is the platform that I'm most comfortable with. This is the platform that I know I can be consistent for, and say, okay, this is where I want to post my most number of posts. So, an easy one to start with, honestly, of all of them, I would say your easiest one to start with would be Facebook, mostly because it doesn't require hashtags. It's more um, it's more reach friendly. In other words, the way that it works with promotions, just like last week we talked about organic growth and paid growth. With promotions, Facebook is able to grow a lot faster and quicker than Instagram. Instagram, like we'll talk about next week in our discussion about analytics, Instagram is a lot more finicky. Um, it tends to have a lot more rules, and they keep changing their analytics and how to grow, which again makes it harder for anybody who's trying to grow their reach to actually grow it and be successful at it. If you want to just get your name out there, Facebook is the easiest. If you want to go where there are a lot of people, where things are trending right now, I would recommend TikTok. Now, that being said, of course, TikTok is something that you would have to know what is popular. You'd have to understand how to make the videos in order to do it. It's not impossible, but it does require more time. It does require understanding how to make videos in order to do it. Focus on growing one account, the rest can follow. The second thing you want to do, and we talked about this, I believe, also last week, is to find your audience. It's important to be in your niche, but it's equally as important to understand who are the people who want to be your customers. So if you are a flower shop, you understand that your customers are probably going to be people in the age range of 25 to 60. You understand that it might be a greater majority of men. You might understand that it would be a greater majority of, your biggest sales are going to come during certain events. So you want to think about, okay, well, who is my audience? And you want to go and find them. And what I mean by find them is I want you to go and actively look for your audience in your posts. A good way to do that, and we're going to show some examples right now, is to kind of go through and look at the people who are following on that page. So my internet might not be too kind right now. We'll see if it'll load. This all goes back to using that search engine and looking at your people who are liking your pages. So oftentimes for smaller businesses, it starts with just being friends and family, but you hope that eventually it'll spread out to other people. We'll talk more about it during understanding your analytics, but when you click on a page, you can see who is liking your pages. When you look at that, you can see, okay, well, I had a good number of women. I had a good number of a certain age group. And we'll talk about how that's more important in understanding your analytics, but it gives you the opportunity to meet your audience. And so then you start creating your content to help stay in the same audience group. This also works for finding your niche. When we talk about niche, we're talking again about the group or the category your business fits into. So for example, if you are a food business, then you fit into the food industry of business. You can find just the same as you find other small local shops to eat. Those are your niche, but your audience would be the people who would be most likely to eat at your restaurant. So if you know that, for example, if you're a salad restaurant and you know that, health is a really important thing for the younger demographic, then okay, well, I'm going to cater to young people, millennials ages 20 to 30 who are interested in eating healthy foods that they can order quickly. This is a really big thing, and actually this is a little bit new, creating a link tree. Now, creating a link tree is both free and it is you can pay for advanced options, but I don't see necessarily having the need for it. A link tree allows you to have all of your posts or all of your links in one spot so that all of your links are just one link, if that makes sense. Let me see if I can show you. I'm sorry, my internet is not the best right now, but I believe if I can get on through my computer. Yes. So here's the Gallup MainStreet link tree. What you'll notice is that it just looks like this. And when you click on it, it will take you to all the links associated with that page. So if you are using, for example, if you have a website, you can link your website. You can link to, like, if you have an ordering online form, you can link it right there. If you have a Squarespace, you can link it right there. You can link basically the top things that you want to link all in one location. What this does is, instead of saying, for example, on your post, instead of saying, here's my link, which people can't click on, you can't click on URLs on links in Instagram. Instead of doing that, they just can click up here, and then it's just one quick tap to go to the next location. Let me see. Similarly for mine, you can see, a quick tap, and now you are able to go through and find all of these in just one spot. And again, we love free. Free is amazing. So this is free and super duper easy to set up. On the back end, let me see if it'll let me. On the back end, all that it asks you to do is to add your link. So if you see here, this is what it looks like on the back end. It's super duper easy. You just copy your link and add it there. and it'll show up on your link tree. Are there any questions about Linktree before we move on? Because I know it's kind of like a mini lesson within a lesson, but definitely it's one of the big things. If you go home with something today, it would be to start up a Linktree. Really good question. Is the link tree only through Instagram? It is not. You can use it for Facebook as well. And like I said, if your primary focus is going to be Facebook, what I would recommend is that you create a post and then you pin it. And that basically means is when you pin a post, it'll be the top. It'll say this at the top, and it will show up at the very top of all your posts. And so you could just, create a graphic on Canva that says, hey, here's other places that you can find me. It can be your introduction or whatever. And you just right click the three dots and it will give you the chance right here. I mean, it would be the opposite. It would say pin to top of page. And so then people could find your link tree pretty easily there. You can use your link tree anywhere. You can use it on your website, you can use it on Facebook, on Twitter, on TikTok once you have enough followers to have your website listed there. It just makes it really, really easy for people to find you through all your different places. And like I said, this is especially great for small businesses, because usually, your Facebook isn't where you sell stuff. Usually if you have like an online place where people can go shop, or if you have a website, then people can find your website super fast, or any other link that you want to share with them. Now here's more active things, and this is like, okay, if your goal is to start growing your page, and you're like, what, my goal is 1,000 followers by the end of this year, which is totally doable. You have about 9 months. It is very possible to grow your page and to get it substantially grown to 1,000 followers in about that much amount of time, but you have to commit to a couple of things. And so these two steps are kind of the big ones that I suggest for people who are really trying to grow. Follow 3 a week. And this is just kind of like, to kind of help you remember. You want to follow, and you can do more than this, definitely. But like, if you have to decide, okay, well, who should I follow on my professional account, or what pages should I like? So on Facebook, you like pages. On Instagram, you follow. If you were doing this for Facebook, you want to find accounts that you want to be like. So again, what is an account that is doing the exact same thing as you, but are doing amazing? You want to copy, and we've talked about that before. You want to resemble, or to kind of do a lot of what they're doing, because whatever they're doing is definitely working. You want to follow accounts of people who could be potential customers. Now, of course, you don't want to be too much in their face, and you don't want to, start, super commenting on all of their stuff and everything. But it does help to start creating relationships with people who could be potential customers. Like we talked about in the lesson about hashtags. Hashtags are super duper helpful when you're trying to grow your audience. You can go and find your city name, for example. And once you find your city name, if you are looking for local customers, here are your local customers. You can like their pictures, you can comment on them, you can just show you are there. And chances are, by by interacting even with just the pages for local people, it's a way to get it. And of course, if you're an online business, then you can look at hashtags related to your audience. So if your audience you think is probably going to be primarily moms, then you can look up of you know, hashtag mommy life, hashtag mommy blogger, anything that basically shows um, your audience, an X or baby boomer generation or whatever it is. Try to find hashtags that would define your audience so that you can start interacting with their content, start following their accounts, start, creating a potential customer base. Follow an account of someone in your niche. So it doesn't have to be the best person. It just has to be someone who is also doing what you are doing. So, if your niche again is a flower shop, yes, you want to be like, Flowers Are Us because they're the best flower shop in all of southwestern Michigan, or sorry, New Mexico. But then you might also find Sal's Flowers, who are also a flower shop, and making connections like that is good. And we've said this before, especially as far as Gallup MainStreet is concerned. It's always a good idea to follow just local businesses because when the community sees a united effort, like this is a community of small businesses, a community of people who are, who are working together, it shows up on social media and people can actually see that, like, wow, this flower shop always shares um, stuff from Camille's, or wow, the essential oil place always shares stuff from Maria's. It shows unity, and it's just a good way, to help each other out in the process of growing. So like I said, you don't have to just stop at following 3 people a week. You can definitely do more than that, but it's a good starting number, especially for people who feel maybe a little bit overwhelmed by the idea of like starting this engagement process. And I think that's the key word, is you want to engage with your audience more, and you want to do it with with a lot of trueness in what you are doing. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so what you want to do, thank you. So the last thing you want to do is you want to go to, again, those pages, those places, find your audience and then go and comment with purpose. And so if you're looking again for, for example, flower shop, on your phone or on, what do you call it? Here it won't show it as much, but it will show up on your phone. It'll show up the recent. You don't necessarily want to choose top, because top just means like whoever has the most likes. You want to go and choose recent. And then when you choose, you want to actually engage with whatever it is that they're posting. So, if you, let me find an example. A lot of these are in different languages. Keep warm on this cold day. Oftentimes, a lot of places have have able to like their post, but say, thank you. We are doing our best in this, in this crazy climate. So, if the weather's actually been kind of bad, then you can actually kind of write something that shows that you actually read it, that you actually cared about what they were saying. And you can do the same thing on Facebook as well. When you search, flower shop, you'll get local pages, you'll get pages to like as well. And you can go and like their pages, you can go in and comment on their stuff as well. And this is, again, this would be be more to create community, but when you're looking for clients, then you can find other things. But of course, it gives you the chance to like, to give your comment, and again, do something that is meaningful and thoughtful, and that way you're creating a name. And of course, you would comment with your profile, or with your actual also other places.
Your are you
And
saying
you would just do that
business
for
profile?
for the account that you choose. This can be literally for Twitter, for
Raquel, we missed a couple of the things that you just said. You kind of froze up. So you were talking about the now
yeah.
I can't remember what you said last. Darn it! I was so worried about typing you a message that I forgot what you said. But you were talking about you were talking about leaving, posting messages, and then you said you do it under your, and I'm assuming you mean your like business page.
Yeah, so
I
you would definitely want to use your business profile for commenting and for interacting with other businesses, with your potential audience, with different people, whether that be on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or TikTok. Um, there are certain things on about social media that are the same for every platform. If there's one way that will definitely help you to grow, it's to comment and engage with other people's posts. Um, which is why, 15 minutes is an easy way to start as a goal. You would want to do it, if you can do it 5 days a week, that's, awesome, super great. And you can decide to do it, like, hey, this is my lunch break. I just kind of want to, get it out of the way, or just get it out of the way first thing in the morning. And I guarantee you that you're going to see growth. Um, the question, I think, just to kind of wrap up growth, and we'll kind of talk about this next week. Um, the ultimate goal with your social media, although goal of growth is important, it's never the main goal. The goal should be, of course, to create something significant, to be able to build an audience of loyal people who actually care about your profile. So, that's why buying um, buying accounts, buying likes, buying followers is never a good idea, because in the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily help your business. Um, what helps is to create solid relationships with people in your online community. Um, and so, don't worry about the speed of how fast it happens, because, even when one person likes your post, that's one person who, was interested enough to to like what you're saying. Don't, don't focus too much on the numbers, hoping like, oh yeah, I hope I can get 100 likes on this. Like, even if you got one, that's one person that's interested. That's one person who can talk to other people eventually, outside of the internet about your business. Um, but again, so sorry about how my internet is glitching. Um, usually is not a problem, but yeah, are there any questions? Maybe I can answer them in the chat today.